The Atlanta Falcons have been a major disappointment this season offensively. They've drafted skill position players in the first round of their last couple of drafts, and for some strange reason, they just have a hard time of finding ways to get those guys to football. Bijan Robinson had a really nice performance against Arizona. This was one of the first games in a very long time where he was actually featured in the offense. And then you got Kyle Pitts and Drake London, like, they can't even get a lot of action either, and they were former first-round picks also. And Arthur Smith is labeled as a offensive-minded coach, but for some reason, this offense under him, since he's been the head coach of Atlanta, hasn't really been all that great. Now, according to a report that I came across, Arthur Smith is expected to return as the Falcons head coach in 2024. The ownership really likes him. He has their backing. He has their blessing. So unless something just catastrophic happens, we're going to see Arthur Smith back on the sidelines come August or September next season. And I don't think Arthur Smith is a shitty head coach, but I don't think he's a good one. I definitely think there are better replacements out there. And the main reason why Arthur Smith shouldn't be a head coach is because he whiffed on the quarterback situation. I mean, at the end of the day, he was still the guy who green-lighted the decision to sign Marcus Mariota. He fizzled out. And then you draft Desmond Ridder in the third round, and he doesn't really have all that much promise. At best, Desmond Ridder can be a low-end starter. He isn't a guy who's going to be able to lead the Atlanta Falcons to a potential Super Bowl. And the thing with Arthur Smith now is that if you're going to give this guy another year to prove himself, you need to go out there and actually get a quarterback if you're Arthur Smith. And if you go out there and you trade for Justin Fields, I honestly don't think that would be too bad of a decision. Justin Fields, like, I know this dude has had an up and down career where you're kind of banking on the potential, and he's had some flashes and some really good games at times. But for the most part, he hasn't really shown the ability to have what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Hasn't really had a great team around him until this season. And then he gets injured. And even then, he's still pretty inconsistent. But going to Atlanta would allow Arthur Smith to have a chance to rehabilitate a quarterback that has way more talent than Taylor Heinicke and Desmond Ridder. And plus, you look at the weapons that Justin Fields will be able to throw the football to. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith. You got Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier in the backfield. And plus, with his running ability, he would be a perfect fit in Arthur Smith offense. You can run read options, design quarterback runs. The thing with Justin Fields is that he doesn't read the field all that great. But I was listening to a podcast with RG3 and Cam Newton where they said that the problem with Justin Fields is that the Bears are asking him to do way too much. He's a quarterback where you got to kind of make things easy for him. You got to make things simple. You got to say, hey, you either look at this guy for your first read. If he's not open, look to see if this guy is open on your second read. And if that guy isn't open, then you just decide to just tuck and run. You got to make things simple, stupid for a guy like Justin Fields. And I think Arthur Smith is capable of being able to do that. And even if you don't agree with the decision to go out there and get Justin Fields, you at least got to try to get an upgrade at the quarterback position, at least somebody who's proven to be mid-range or high-end starter. You don't need to go ahead and break the bank, but you at least got to be able to find you somebody who's like on the Kirk Cousins kind of level. But what's really out there for the Falcons to really improve their QB situation right now? You see, that's the main reason why the Falcons are in the situation that they're in, because they don't really have a quarterback who they can trust in late game situations. Like, Arthur Smith is a run-heavy head coach. He wants to put a lot of emphasis on running the football, and that's cool. But in the year of 2023, regardless of what people want to tell you, yes, you do have to be able to run the football at times, but it's still a passing league. It's not the 80s or 90s anymore where you just play smash mouth football. You run the football 40, 50 times a game, and you only need your quarterback to throw the ball 10, 15 times to win. Like, it's 2023. If you can't trust your quarterback to win a game for you throwing the football, then he shouldn't be your starting quarterback. If your philosophy is, we don't need our quarterback to do that much, we just need him to take care of the football, you don't got a good quarterback, or at least a quarterback that you can believe in. And I don't get why these head coaches like Arthur Smith put their trust into journeyman backups or journeyman veterans like Marcus Mariota that have been around the block, haven't been able to stick with one team. They've been backups for the previous teams that they played with. And then all of a sudden, you want to put your job security on the line for somebody who hasn't proven to be a competent starter? That makes zero sense to me. And their general manager, Terry Fontenot, like, maybe he returns in 2024. I don't know. But Arthur Smith coming back in 2024 next season, like, I don't think it's a terrible decision, but I don't think it's a great one either. I mean, if you can go out there and get you a new head coach, like the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson for the Lions, I think he would be a good upgrade over Arthur Smith, because maybe he would be able to find ways to get the quarterback situation figured out and get the ball to the guys that you've invested first-round picks in at the skill position. You know, last year, people were saying that the defense was the problem. Well, the defense has been pretty solid this year, but the offense hasn't held their end of the bargain. And you can make all the excuses for him not having the quarterback that he needs, but he's the reason for it. At the end of the day, like, Lamar Jackson was a restricted free agent last year. You know, like, who cares about the cap situation? Find a way to clear up some cap space and get Lamar Jackson on your team. Like, people make it seem like you got to try to find the best value, the best bargain at quarterback. Like, no, you don't. The NFL is a quarterback-driven league. Like, the only teams that really have gone far in the postseason despite not having an elite quarterback have been Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. But Arthur Smith obviously isn't a Kyle Shanahan. Like, all of the best coaches in the National Football League, or some of the best coaches that ever coached this game, have had great quarterbacks. You think of Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Sean Payton, Drew Brees, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Donovan McNabb. Like, he's no Patrick Mahomes, but he was pretty solid. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, Pete Carroll, prime Russell Wilson, all of the NFL's best head coaches have great quarterbacks. Even think about your top 5 head coaches right now. They all have solid quarterbacks. The only head coach that can make things shake without not having great quarterback play or defensive-minded coaches, because they don't specialize on that side of the ball. But look at the Miko Ryans when they drafted C.J. Stroud. Imagine if Atlanta would have just said, you know what, yeah, we drafted Desmond Ridder last season, but we're just going to go ahead and draft another quarterback like the Titans did with Will Levis. You see, there were Falcons fans that told me, man, we can't draft another quarterback because we drafted Desmond Ridder in the 3rd round. Who says you can't? Because Tennessee drafted 2 quarterbacks in back-to-back years, and Will Levis has panned out for them up to this point. You see, if Arthur Smith is going to last as the head coach for Atlanta, he can't go into the 2024 NFL season with below average or serviceable quarterback play. Like, Taylor Heineke is okay, but he's a stopgap quarterback. He's a good backup, low-end starter who can come in and be serviceable for you if your starter gets injured, but he's not somebody who can consistently win you games. Prime example, look at how the Arizona Cardinals game went. He got injured. Desmond Ridder came in and put them in position to win that game. And then, you know, Kyler Murray comes in and drives Arizona down the field with ease, and they end up winning that ball game. That's what happens when you have a franchise quarterback. When you have a franchise quarterback, you have a guy who you can trust in late game moments, somebody who's not going to sell the game. Desmond Ridder has folded for the Atlanta Falcons so many times this season with the game on the line. The dude is just too turnover prone. And the dude just doesn't see the field that well. So for Arthur Smith, if he is indeed coming back for one more season and 2024 is his proven year, he needs to go out there and get him a damn quarterback.